You're watching the Color 8 News at 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good Friday evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Greg Lamont.
And I'm Stella Daskalakis. The Yellowstone County Sheriff's Department says one person is dead after a house fire this afternoon. Fire and sheriff's investigators are waiting on a warrant to enter a home on Knoll Drive. The Sheriff's Department says fire crews were called to the trailer home just before 1 this afternoon. Right now, the death is being treated as suspicious. The cause and where the fire started is still under investigation, and deputies right now will not say if the deceased is a man or woman.
The state Supreme Court once again denies Barry Beach's efforts to get a new trial. Last month, Beach was taken back to Montana State Prison after 18 months of freedom. Beach's lawyer argued the justices applied a new standard of review in the case and completely discarded a district court judge's findings that gave Beach a chance for a retrial. The justices say facts established by evidence in record were properly reviewed. One Supreme Court justice disagreed. Brian Morris says no reasonable juror, when properly instructed, could consider the witness's testimony and not have reasonable doubt as to whether Beach committed the murder.
An international study reveals 1/3 of women suffer as a result of domestic violence.
The study also indicates those victims have the biggest risk of being murdered by their partner.
Color 8's Catherine McKnight spoke to local organizations that help to support victims who suffer from domestic abuse.
The biggest problem with domestic violence is it does remain silent, and that's how the abuser is able to keep control of that victim.
Jamie Rindall was once a domestic abuse victim, and after finding the strength to speak up, she is now president and founder of DIVAS, Domestic Violence Abuse Awareness Society.
I think that's what people are afraid of, is that stigma that is surrounding it. If you have a mental illness or if you have a domestic violence case, whatever, people don't want to talk about it because they're embarrassed.
That's reportedly one reason abusers continue to have power over a victim. But as a society, experts say it's important to reach out to those who are secretly screaming for your help.
It's really important that friends and family are supportive and let them know that they're willing to help. The victims need to hear, I'm here for you, I'm willing to help when you're ready, and not trying to force change.
Having the self-respect and respect for others to be able to go say something.
Because what goes on behind closed doors may surprise us, especially in rural communities.
Reaching out for help just is that much more difficult because they don't have the resources available to the bigger cities.
This is a problem that occurs in our community just as much as anywhere else. Some of the things that we really love about being a rural state actually increases the instances of domestic violence.
The YWCA is just one organization to reach out to. The agency helps nearly 700 women a year who suffer from domestic abuse.
We really want people to escape these relationships safely. Our bottom line is keeping individuals in our community safe and to avoid loss of life.
And while many may be afraid to speak up and reach out for help, the YWCA will protect confidentiality and goes above and beyond to keep everyone safe. Catherine McKnight, Color 8 News.
Domestic violence isn't something that just happens to women. Men and children can be victims as well.
And help is a phone call away. The YWCA has a 24-hour crisis hotline, 406-259-8100.
The Montana Women's Prison has a new warden. Former Deputy for Treatment Services Joan Daly will head up the women's prison. She also spent 7 years as Director of Psychiatry for Billings Clinic. Daly's first official day will be Monday.
What I plan to do is really marry the correctional security piece to treatment and make it a partnership that's functional and putting the inmate at the center of what we're doing here.
Daly will succeed the former warden, Joe Acton. She was under investigation and placed on administrative leave back in March.
Former Republican candidate for governor Rick Hill wants a federal court to get involved in his campaign donation case. A complaint says Hill received a $500,000 donation last year. At the time, a judge struck down Montana's limits on campaign donations. Hill wants to keep the new Commissioner of Political Practices from acting on the complaint filed by Governor Steve Bullock's campaign manager. The commissioner plans to first wait until a federal appeals court rules on Montana's donation limits.
More than 100 people gathered at the Northern Hotel for the Yellowstone Republican Women's Spring Luncheon. Congressman Steve Daines was the keynote speaker at the event. Daines discussed current issues facing Congress, including the Keystone Pipeline and Farm Bill. The lawmaker tells Color 8 what the future holds for the Farm Bill and if another temporary extension is a possibility.
It's a possibility, certainly, but it's not the outcome that we want. And it's June. We're coming to the end of this month. We have till the end of September to get this problem solved. And we'll be fighting back in Washington. A one-year extension is not the right answer. A 5-year farm bill is the right answer.
The Big Sky Honor Flight experience took on an extra special meaning for a father-son pair who are sharing a battle.
Color 8's Scott Beadle caught up with them at the FDR Memorial and introduces us to the Whitmans.
Herman Whitman, a 92-year-old vet from Helena, made the honor flight with his son, Mark.
I can't think of anything better than to get on a plane on Father's Day and fly out here with my dad and honor him and get to just have some very, very quality time with my dad. You know, I'll never get another opportunity like this.
This means a lot. I think that every citizen at some time in their life ought to come through all these museums and all these historical sites. Then they know what the country is all about.
The time they share together is precious because they also share a battle and a diagnosis.
We're kind of going through a little dance with prostate cancer, and so, you know, it's been a tough couple of years, the last couple of years on both of us.
This isn't Herman's first battle. Seeing the memorials and Arlington National Cemetery is a reminder of fallen brothers in arms, the thousands who gave their lives during the war. He hopes that having others make this trip to Washington will put those sacrifices in perspective in a way that can't be gained from a history book.
On a battle, you know, you lose some and you gain some, but you say, well, I lost 1,500 men, but I won the mission. But that sounds like just a figure. But when you take 1,500 out here, look at the graves. It's reality now. You're seeing things that you don't see in a figure.
For 2 days, for two men, the past and present meet in an unforgettable way.
I'm turning 60 this next week, and he's 92, and this is just an opportunity to do something that I'll never get a chance to do again.
Scott Beadle, Color 8 News.
Ever wonder why Billings is the way it is? Now you have a chance to learn the answers. The Western Heritage Center is offering historical tours of downtown Billings this summer. Frederick Billings founded the city as a railroad town in 1882. Since then, the city has expanded from the railroad. These guided tours will travel through the heart of the downtown area to explain the history of the Magic City.
For the people who live here, I think it creates a sense of pride of who we are. It connects us to the past, to the people who've lived here. And I think in the same way for travelers or people who are new to Billings, it offers the opportunity to feel more at home.
The historic tour is $10 per person, which includes a $5 museum pass. Children under 12 are free. The tours start at noon every Friday this summer. Try to arrive a little early, though. The tour is about a 1.5-hour hike, so wear good shoes.
Free Movies in the Park is underway, and the second movie in the series is coming up. Tonight, the second movie, Hotel Transylvania, will play at Veterans Park at 9:15. On July 12th, Rise of the Guardians will play at South Park. Dr. Seuss's The Lorax will play on July 26th at Veterans Park. On August 2nd at Castle Rock Park, you can watch Madagascar 3. The last movie in the series is August 23rd at Pioneer Park. You can have a say in what movie will play then. Just go to Firefly Outdoor Movie Company's Facebook page to vote for the movie you'd like to see. All the movies start at 9:15. Again, the movies are free, but there will be concessions, and proceeds from those will go to the Billings Kiwanis Youth Programs. To go to the movie company's website, go to our website, color8.com, and click on Connections. Well, just ahead, of course, you've heard of Paws and Claws tonight, 10 o'clock. But did you hear about Prison Paws for Humanity?
It's a program of inspiration to prison inmates who help dogs overcome their own behavioral problems. We'll take a look when we come right back.
You're watching the Color 8 News at 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good Thursday evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Greg Lamont.
And I'm Stella Daskalakis. The Big Sky Honor Flight has taken many veterans to Washington, D.C., but there are many more veterans who need to be honored.
Today, several Billings organizations presented checks to fund the upcoming Big Sky Honor Flights. The organizations donated more than $6,000 for future flights. To date, Big Sky Honor Flight has flown more than 400 veterans from all over the state to see their memorial. But the flights are now winding down. September 3rd is the deadline for applications for veterans who still want to go to D.C. After that, no more applications will be accepted.
What they're able to do is talk about their friends, see how their friends have been honored, and see how they've been honored. It's a very emotional time, but it's something very important that as these World War II veterans go back, we have our final thank you for their effort during World War II.
The latest donations will be combined with the current funds of more than $90,000 and go toward their next two flights. The next flights will take off September 8th and October 13th.
Eldon Little Elk pleads guilty to one count of deliberate homicide in district court today. Little Elk was accused of repeatedly stomping on the head of a man who has since died after suffering from bleeding in the brain. Little Elk has 73 prior arrests in the state of Montana and multiple felonies. A special sentencing will be set by Judge Waters at a later date.
Part of I-90 was closed today when a construction truck trailer overturned. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Todd Hagenbuck says the 1990 Peterbilt truck was traveling eastbound on I-90 when it began to fishtail. The driver reportedly attempted to slow down, causing the fishtailing to increase. The truck's trailer tipped over and spilled its load of asphalt onto the road. The truck belongs to Springline Construction from Warden. The driver was not injured. The cause of the fishtailing is still under investigation, but the trooper says it may have been due to an imbalance in the truck's load.
It appears plans by an out-of-state company to buy Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Montana will go forward. Today, Insurance Commissioner Monica Lindeen approved Healthcare Service Corp of Illinois to take over Montana's largest private health insurer. Part of the deal, the company must keep all 450 jobs in the state and add another 100 in the future. Earlier in the week, Attorney General Tim Fox approved the financial aspects of the plan. Blue Cross has about 250,000 customers.
It is a place for those who have nowhere to go. Various local groups have pitched in time and money to renovate rooms at the Montana Rescue Mission's Women's Shelter in downtown Billings.
The shelter is unveiling some new rooms where families can stay. Color 8's Kenneth Wong was at the Women's Shelter early this morning for the unveiling and joins us with more. Kenny, I understand you have a touching story to share.
Yeah, Stella and Greg, 3 groups, one from as far away as Red Lodge, helped with making the rooms just a bit more at home for people most in need, and one group was motivated to do the project after a sad encounter.
Robin worked for St. Vincent's over 25 years. She was our CNA and our ward clerk.
She was friends to all of us.
But sadly, it was a friendship which ended too soon. 58-year-old Robin Christofferson, a colleague and friend of Jolene Kuntz, died of cancer on June 4th of this year.
When we lost her, it was a great loss, but she's at such peace now, and we know that God has totally watched over her.
Jolene and a group of people from St. Vincent Healthcare renovated a room at the Montana Rescue Mission Women's Shelter in her memory.
We just want a lot of wood and a lot of earthy things in here, but yeah, we have to have some fun things like the colored bird.
The room called Robin's Nest is one of 3 rooms dedicated by the MRM in the organization's ongoing efforts to renovate rooms at the women's shelter.
I wish I would have had the opportunity to meet her, but she's right there in that room. I know this was her dream, and I thank you guys.
In addition to the team from St. V's, a group from EBMS and one from a Red Lodge church also took part in the effort.
Coming in every evening and on the weekends, I really got to interact with the people here and realize that I can have an impact.
Teams behind the makeover say the project has touched their lives in many ways.
Definitely makes me appreciate what I do have and makes me want to do more for others.
I've met such nice people here, and I've enjoyed them so much, and I think about them at night.
Gary Drake with a Mission says he hopes to eventually renovate all of the rooms at the shelter. To learn more about the mission, visit color8.com and click on Connections. Greg and Stella, I'll send it back to you guys.
Kenny, thank you very much. Vivint is the nation's largest home automation company.
It's an advanced type of security system which allows homeowners to control security and other features through their smartphone or tablet.
Now, the company is focused on something else as well. Last year, it raised $1.2 million through service work in communities around the U.S.
As Color 8's Christine Corrado reports, the company says it's here in Billings to lend a helping hand.
Vivint Inc. provides home security and energy conservation services, and the company is heavily involved in one more thing: community service.
We're always doing stuff like this, giving back. Giving back is a big part of the company and what they want to do.
Employees of the company bring their families along to give back to communities around the nation.
Nice job, bud.
In any way they can.
Just always trying to do something, always trying to give back. If there's an opportunity to give back to the communities that we're in, we're going to jump all over it.
Around 20 Vivint workers paint over the graffiti at the downtown skate park and spread mulch around the trees. Randy Holmes and her husband Chris use service to teach their little ones the meaning of being selfless.
In this day and age, it's all about getting, and I just think it's good morals and good standards to teach your kids to give back.
After the skate park, volunteers head over to Founders Park to give life to the trees.
We knew we had that project at the skate park that we wanted some of the graffiti painted, so we decided to tie them both together and have them co-mulch there, and then the trees here as well. We decided to tie that in since it was close.
The group says it's not about getting recognition for their good deeds.
Makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
It's about restoring hope for families and communities in need. Christine Corrado, Color 8 News.
The women involved in Vivint also are volunteering their time to help babysit children from the women's shelter at the YWCA.
For its 20th anniversary fundraiser, McKenzie River Pizza will slice up $20,000 between 7 Montana nonprofit organizations. Customers were given the opportunity to vote on how the money would be divided. The largest portion of the money, 19%, will go to Eagle Mount in Great Falls. Billings' own Chase Hawks Memorial Association will get 12%, which is $2,400. The rest of the money will go to 5 other charities. Well, just ahead, do you know your HIV status? Have you been tested?
Plus, whether they want it or not, students will soon find healthier snacks in the lunchroom and in their school vending machines. Those stories and much more when we come right back.
A Montana family grieves the loss of a firefighter from Ekalaka who was among the 19 hotshots who were killed battling a wildfire in Arizona. The Color 8 News at 6 starts now.
You're watching the Color 8 News at 6.
A very good Tuesday evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Greg Lamont.
And I'm Stella Daskalakis. A Montana firefighter was among the 19 killed in the Arizona blaze over the weekend.
The family of 24-year-old Dustin DeFord of Ekalaka says his body has not yet been released. Dustin's mother, Celeste, says she first learned of Dustin's passing on Sunday night from one of his friends. Dustin began firefighting for the Carter County Rural Fire Department in Ekalaka when he was just 18 years old. Dustin took a job as a grand hotshot in Arizona this past spring. Celeste tells Color 8 she is still in shock and is spending time with her family remembering all of Dustin's great qualities.
He was a fun-loving, energetic goofball. He always had us in stitches and just very high energy. He was serious sometimes, though. He had a tremendous work ethic and serious about Jesus Christ. He was passionate about sharing his faith with others.
Dustin was one of 10 children in the DeFord family and one of 5 who was a firefighter. Celeste says the family is trying to plan a memorial service for sometime this weekend in Ekalaka.
Montana Governor Steve Bullock, in the meantime, has ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff to remember those lost in the line of duty. Now, Prescott, Arizona remains in shock, as you can well imagine, and a nation is mourning for those firefighters.
NBC's Jennifer Bjorklund has more from that community.
solemn tribute here at a firehouse memorial as the community opens its hearts to the men lost fighting the Yarnell Hill fire.
They saved us in Williamson Valley, and then to turn around and lose their lives in Yarnell, it's just hard. You just can't get your brain around it.
19 shovels placed in memory of the Granite Mountain hotshot crew from a one-time firefighter overwhelmed by the sense of loss here.
19 men lost their lives. People I will never meet, but I'm there in spirit.
A Prescott resident captured these images of the hotshot crew rolling out for what would be their final mission. Many who left behind families and wives who are moved by the memorials left on behalf of their men.
They were heroes in our homes, that they're heroes in our community, that they're heroes to the people that they helped there.
While an honor guard remains at the medical examiner's office with the bodies of the fallen, the firefight itself is now in the hands of the federal government, and crews are not expecting any breaks from the weather.
Today, there's an even higher potential for stronger winds.
While 200 homes are feared lost, as appeared to be the case from the air, crews on the ground have only been able to yet confirm 50. Destroyed property overwhelming.
Here in Prescott right now, you can measure the grief in degrees.
But up against a much more difficult perspective of loss. Firefighters are coming in from all over the U.S. in anticipation of a memorial service likely early next week. Jennifer Bjorklund, NBC News, Prescott, Arizona. Montana State Prison officials continue to search for an inmate who escaped. Dean Randolph Jess disappeared around 11 yesterday morning. A prison spokeswoman says she believes Jess acted alone and searches turned up no signs of him. Jess was working for motor vehicle maintenance on a service call when he left the prison property. Jess is about 5'10", 180 pounds, with green eyes and a shaved head. Anyone with information on his whereabouts should call the police.
A report released from the Reason Foundation ranks the overall quality of Montana's highway system 5th best in the nation. Now, that's good news, but the Treasure State is down 3 spots from just last year.
As Color 8's McLeod Hageman reports, the ranking suffered reportedly because Montanans aren't buckling up.
We preach to the public to wear seatbelts. Unfortunately, we have a drastic spike in the lack of use of seatbelts, resulting in the fatality crashes.
Montana Highway Patrol Captain Keith Edgell says traffic fatalities involving people not wearing their seatbelts are up nearly 10% from last year.
Wreck-wise, we're about where we normally are. We're having more fatalities because we're having more people ejected from the vehicles for lack of seatbelt use.
Even though the Montana Department of Transportation goes above and beyond to ensure roadways are safe, Montana ranks last in traffic fatalities. Additional troopers are now out patrolling through the weekend to ensure a safer 4th of July week.
We do see additional guys out there, which helps with visibility, and that usually helps curtail people's driving habits, even if they just see the trooper and not necessarily being stopped.
Captain Edgell says people celebrating the 4th should allow enough time for travel.
Don't get in a rush. If you're going to Laurel, you know that you're going to be in traffic. Don't become that irate driver while you're out there.
Edgell says troopers are called to several fires near roads this time of year. He says people need to be mindful of the weather and stay safe. McLeod Hageman.
According to Captain Edgell, in the last week, 6 people who were not wearing their seatbelts have died on Montana roadways.
Governor Steve Bullock is asking President Obama to declare some areas recently devastated by flooding as major disaster areas. A total of 12 counties and 3 tribal nations are part of that request. If signed by the president, it would make federal funds through the Federal Emergency Management Agency available to help with the recovery efforts. Some of the counties include Custer, Fergus, Musselshell, Rosebud, Dawson, and Petroleum. The flooding caused widespread damage to roads, bridges, water systems, and government-owned buildings.
It is getting buggy out there. Rain coupled with the warmer weather is drawing out more mosquitoes throughout Billings. If you want to fight the bite and protect yourself against those pesky critters, especially those who might be carrying the West Nile virus, be sure to practice the 4 Ds. Those are wear DEET, avoid going out during dusk and dawn, drain standing water near your home, and dress in long sleeves and pants.
Another thing to look for are, because it does affect animals also, and so we do surveillance here for birds and horses and animals getting the West Nile, because they'll typically show up with it before we have human exposures.
Prepare yourself now, because mosquitoes carrying West Nile virus tend to lay their eggs towards the end of summer.
Well, as the city of Laurel prepares for the upcoming 4th of July celebration, they want to update the public on new parking rules.
Parking along a portion of the Laurel parade route will not be allowed this year. Laurel Chamber officials are asking people to avoid parking along sections of the route for safety reasons. The areas closed for parking are North Colorado Avenue to 1st Street, 1st Street to 1st Avenue, and 1st Avenue to 9th Street. Parking still will be allowed along Main Street. The parade in Laurel starts at 11 a.m. on Thursday.
And Thursday's fireworks show at Castle Rock Park is expected to draw a crowd of about 20,000 people. Billings police say numerous officers will control traffic at the major intersections along main roads. Officers say using shortcuts will only delay you as you leave the heights. Last year, police say it took about 45 minutes for traffic to clear the area. And a reminder, it is illegal to have or set off fireworks here in the city of Billings.
And there will be extra enforcement through the police and fire departments.
But just ahead, the battle against cancer is often debilitating, with side effects that include hair loss and skin changes.
That's why the Look Good, Feel Better program hosted by the American Cancer Society has become such a welcome friend to area women battling cancer. We'll take a closer look when we come right back.